back to my channel. I'm Cody, and today I'm going to talk about Minifees. So this is not intended to be comprehensive at all. It's just intended to give you some ideas about Minifees and the very basics of them in case you're interested in looking into getting one of these dolls. I would highly suggest that you do your own research as well and figure out which ball jointed doll is best for you and which kind of Minifee sculpt and things like that are best for you, and I'll talk about what that means in just a little bit. So here today our assistants are Kylie and Sean, and we'll get right into it. So as you can see here, we have two dolls. These are both Minifees, even though their faces are vastly different. They're both dressed. The dolls will not come like this, just so you're aware. They will come with a blank face and they will be nude. So let's get these dolls undressed so you can see their bodies and see how they work, and see what they look like. Here's your disclaimer for dolly nudity. Okay, so as you can see, they're dolls made of resin. They have multiple joints, which we will talk about in a minute. There are two resin skin tones. Actually, there's three, but I don't have a resin in the white skin. This one is normal skin, and this one is tan skin. There are not any resin tones right now with Minifee that are darker than tan skin. There is a more stark difference in real life. The tan one looks like she's been in the tanning bed for quite some time, or like she spent a lot of time outside. And she does have a nice tan as compared to the normal skin, which is a little bit yellower. Some of the yellowing does come with age though, and that is kind of a product of resin as it ages. So if you'll look closely at their faces, there are different things that we call face sculpts. So a face sculpt is basically the type of face that the doll comes with. So if you'll look closely on this one, this is a Minifee Chloe. She's arguably the most popular face sculpt. She was painted by the very talented Rakuru Sensei over on, I think that's how you say it, over on Instagram. And so she came blank to the original owner. I am her second owner, and was painted and then sent to me. So that's what she looks like. Chloe here is an interesting face sculpt. She's actually the closed eye version of a Minifee Chloe, and someone actually modded her eyes to be open, so she has partially open eyes. So she's not a face sculpt that you can purchase, but you can purchase the closed eye version of all of the face sculpts, and there are many face sculpts, so I would suggest going and looking on the website and seeing which one you like the best. Now their faces are called a face-up. Your doll will not come with a face-up. I don't know who painted Kylie here, but like I said, Rakuru Sensei painted Sean, and it will probably run you between $80 and $100 to get a face-up. Some artists charge up to $200, so it really just depends. But that's something you have to think about when you go to purchase one of these dolls. Because that's something that you'll need to get. You can also get the company face-up for a similar price, and that will not be as elaborate as a face-up like one of these dolls has. So next, let's move on and take a look at their jointing and their heads. So we're going to move Kylie out of the way, and let's take a look here at Sean. From now on, I'm going to call her Chloe because of her Chloe sculpt. So let's look at her head first. Each head has a head cap on it, and in order to remove the head, which you generally have to do in order to dress them, is you just take the head cap off, and it's held on by magnets, as you can see right here. And you can also see where her eyes are put in with some blue tack in the back of her head. In order to take her head off, there's a mechanism where you twist this little knob, and then you take the head off. And so you've got the face piece and the head cap. So we'll set these aside for now. So next we can take a look at where the head fits. So this is the little mechanism that it sits on top of, and this is the thing that turns. And this also allows her head to have motion at the neck, and it's pretty good range of motion. Let's talk about her range of motion and her jointing. So this is a ball jointed doll. That's because of these type of joints. They're called ball joints. So she has full range of motion at the arms, at the elbows. You have to kind of pop the joint a little bit, but she can bend her elbow all the way up. They have removable hands that are magnetic. This one's just a little bit tight. They have removable magnetic hands. They have a joint at the chest. They have a joint at the waist. This is the standard body. Please ignore my cats in the background. They have a joint at the hips. And it looks like this. They can turn and rotate at the hip. They have a joint at the knees that allows them to sit on their knees. And then they also have, depending on your model, either magnetic feet or like Kylie. So back to Kylie here. She actually has feet, I don't know if you can see them, that are strung. I'm not going to pull it out very far because I don't want to unstring her feet because they're very tough to get back on. So that brings me to the next point. These dolls are strung, so there is a string that runs from the neck down into each arm, and then from the neck down through the pelvis into each leg, and you can see that in between their joints there's a string. Let's see if I can get to a joint that's loose enough to show you. There's a string. You can also see inside of my joints, there's a patch of suede, and that actually keeps the joints stiff and allows them to be able to stand and pose on their own. That's something that you'll have to do when you get your doll. At first, it'll be stiff enough to pose on its own, but after some period of time, oh, there's a piece of glue. I've sueded her with glue too before. Some of her joints have glue in them. But after a period of time, she'll lose the ability to stand, and you'll have to suede the joints, whether it be the hot glue method, the tacky glue method, or sueding method, in order to make them stand again. About body options. Whenever you're purchasing a Minifee, you want to decide what options you want it to come with, especially if you're purchasing it from the website. So you'll have to choose. There are different bust sizes, as you can see here. There are different body heights, which these are the normal active line body, and this is the Moe line body. I think that's how you say it, is Moe. And so it's smaller and cuter and lacks the seam line at her waist. But other than that, they tend to be the same. You have to choose whether or not you want strung feet or magnetic feet. You can change both of them between heeled feet and non-heeled feet, but they're a lot harder to change if they're strung, but they're a lot easier to get in and out of shoes if they're strung. So it's kind of, you have to weigh those options. You also want to decide if you're going to buy extra hands. So you can see all of my girls have different hands. This is a default hand, so this is what it will look like. But my girls have different kinds of hands that you can see. This is one of my favorites. And I think there's about 8 different pairs of hands that you can get. But you'll have to see which ones are in stock on the website and which ones aren't. And as far as the website, it's Fairyland USA. Or Fairyland. You can get, there's a Japanese website, I believe. It's Japanese. And there's a USA website. But my dolls either come from Fairyland USA or I got them from a third-party seller. You have to be very careful, though, if you get them from a third-party seller because there are lots of counterfeits. And so you want one that comes with a COA or Certificate of Authenticity, particularly for the head. A lot of the bodies don't come with that, but they can at least show you the COA in a picture or something like that. You do have to trust that they're not photoshopping a picture, which most people don't. I mean, in this hobby, everybody tends to really take care of each other and want each other to have nice, legitimate dolls. But that's just something you have to think about as well. Next, let me get them dressed and we'll talk about pricing. So next, let's talk about pricing. So these dolls in general will run you somewhere between $450 and $550, give or take. That really depends on whether you buy from the secondhand market versus straight from Fairyland, whether you get extra options, if you get a bust upgrade, and that doesn't necessarily include the face up, so you have to think about how much it's going to be for a face up. Some people get the hands painted, so they have to think about how much it's going to be to have the hands painted. So they can get relatively pricey depending on what options you decide to get with them. And then let's talk about the clothing. The clothing itself is also very pricey. I believe this shirt cost somewhere around $20 and the skirt was $25 or $30. So that's kind of the normal for a slim MSD doll like these Minifees. And that's the type of clothes you want to buy, is slim MSD. That I think stands for Mini Super Dollfie, I think, because all of the naming conventions for ball jointed dolls are based off of Dollfie Dream, because they used to be the only company that made similar type of dolls. And so these are slim MSDs. So you can go ahead and buy clothes before your doll gets there, but the clothes are pretty pricey as well. And you also will want to have a wig for your doll. So if you're not a wig maker, then you'll have to factor in somewhere between $20 and $80 for the type of wig that you want for your doll as well. So they can, like I said, get pretty pricey. So that's something that you have to think about. A lot of people on the secondhand market will offer a layaway so that you can pay kind of as you go and get your doll once you're finished paying. So that's a good option for a lot of people. But I don't think Fairyland allows that. I don't think that's an option on their website. I might be wrong. I know some artist BJDs, they'll allow you to do that, but I don't know about Fairyland. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And I think my cat wants to come up and say hello. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.